he's a husband with a little baby, 7-month-old, and that's just devastating news.
A former Marine is killed in Ukraine. We're learning new details about his life and why he was in the war-torn country.
We continue to urge Americans not to go to Ukraine.
A family grieves for a man shot in a Denver park.
The gentleman said, "Back away," or something like that. And then after that, he just started firing.
Now the city is closing the area because of the rise in violence. Plus, federal officials are identifying the disease that has left nearly 100 wild horses dead in southern Colorado. And the NFL draft enters its second day. A local player could hear his name called.
We'll get to those stories momentarily. First at 11, an American has been killed in the war in Ukraine. His death is the first known death of a U.S. citizen fighting in that war-torn country. Thanks for sticking with us for Denver 7 News at 11. These are new photos we are seeing of Willie Cancel on his wedding day. He was killed on Monday after spending a little more than a month in Ukraine. His family is sharing details about why he was there. We also are hearing from the Pentagon.
The family of 22-year-old Willie Cancel says he died fighting with Ukrainian forces while working with a private military contracting company. He flew to Poland in mid-March and crossed into Ukraine a few days later. His wife said in a statement, he went there wanting to help people. He had always felt that that was his main mission in life. I did not expect to be a widow at 23 years old or for our son to be without a father. Cancel's mother says his body hasn't been found. The Pentagon says they're aware of his death and are monitoring the situation.
We're just waking up to this news, same as CNN. And look, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. I mean, what a devastating piece of news this has to be for them, for anybody to lose a son, a brother. That's got to be painful.
Cancel's mother says her son wanted to do the contract work because he believed in what Ukraine was fighting for. His wife called him a hero and says he was eager to volunteer when he learned about the war.
This is an active war zone. This is not the place to be traveling to. I understand, his altruistic motives. I do, and I respect that. But this is not the place for Americans to go.
Cancel worked as a corrections officer in Kentucky before he left for Ukraine. He's originally from New York and had hoped to work for the New York Police Department. He leaves behind his wife and 7-month-old son.
And Cancel was reportedly fighting with a unit featuring soldiers from all over the world. Ukraine's International Legion says more than 20,000 people have volunteered to help repel the Russian invaders. The UN Secretary General is in Ukraine visiting sites of suspected war crimes. He condemned the acts committed against civilians and urged criminal accountability. President Biden wants Congress to approve $33 billion in funding for Ukraine. He made that announcement yesterday. $20 billion of it would be in military assistance. $8.5 billion would be given to Ukraine's government to provide basic services. Here in Colorado, a man's murder has forced the city of Denver to close La Alma Lincoln Park indefinitely. Denver police say 63-year-old Gary Ariano was shot in the park Wednesday night while trying to break up a fight. There was a vigil to honor him last night. Family members say he loved that park.
Honest and giving, and very lovable person. He'll give you the shirt off his back if he had.
This was his home. This is where he grew up. This is where he lived. This is where he died.
And the city is closing the park, citing the recent violence. Officials say the park will reopen when it's deemed safe to use. A 24-year-old suspect in the shooting is in custody. Gary Ariano is the latest victim in several deadly shootings this year. This week is National Crime Victims' Rights Week, and Denver 7's Jessica Crawford spoke to a mother who lost her son and is now working to support victims' families.
He loved music. He loved people. He loved the arts.
Marilyn Shelton remembering her son, 29-year-old Tyrone Adair Jr., also known as rapper Boss Man Goody. In October of 2016, he was at a Rhino nightclub when his life was cut short.
One of the guys that was involved in it, causing the issue, left the club and went and got his weapon and stood across the street and started shooting. And my son happened to be the one that got hit.
Charlotta Evans helps people like Shelton because she knows what it's like to lose a child.
Yes, it's been 26 years since the loss of my son, Kason Xavier Evans. My 3-year-old son, his life was taken by a drive-by shooting in the Park Hill area.
As she mourned and navigated the criminal justice system, she noticed she wasn't getting the help she needed. In 2009, she started the Colorado Crime Victims Network.
A lot of our families are not afforded any victim assistance as far as victim compensation. And when it comes to the victim assistance part, the guiding through the process of loss with our families is so crucial.
From helping fill out applications for victims' compensation to what to say when you're in a courtroom, standing across from your child's killer, to a hand to hold in your grief. All things, Shelton says, has made a difficult journey, one she doesn't have to walk alone.
So it's been a great help. I remember when it first happened, I didn't know Charlotta, but everybody said you need to find Charlotta Evans. So happened quickly, we united together.
Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
The Bureau of Land Management has determined equine flu is what's killing wild horses at its facility in Canyon City. Another 10 horses have died since yesterday, bringing the total to 95. The horses were rounded up by the BLM last year after a wildfire threatened their habitat. The BLM says it's reviewing operations at the facility to prevent more outbreaks. Officials say this flu virus is not related to the bird flu currently impacting birds and poultry across the U.S. and here in Colorado. We are learning that a Colorado man is the first person in the country to test positive for that strain of bird flu. The CDC says the man is an inmate at the state correctional facility in Delta County. He was working at a poultry farm on the western slope as part of a work release program. Officials say he's isolating and taking medication. Bird flu has been detected in several areas across our state since March. The CDC says it's rare for bird flu to spread from a bird to a human and very rare for it to then spread to other contacts. The state is changing how you get tested for COVID-19. 40 of the large testing sites will close tomorrow, like the ones at Red Rocks Community College and the 16th Street Mall. 80 state-run community sites will remain open. Well, take a look through your medicine cabinet. Tomorrow is Drug Take-Back Day. You can get rid of old and unused medications. You can drop those off at locations across the country, including police and sheriff's offices. Advocates say keeping old medications can lead to abuse and even overdoses.
What happens oftentimes is people recognize this was preventable. Had I known that this could hit my family and hit really hard, I could have been more prepared for it.
Most locations have drop-off times from 10 to 2 tomorrow. You can find a list on our website, thedenverchannel.com. And some things are not accepted, including needles, inhalers, or marijuana. It's day 2 of the NFL Draft. This is a live look right now from Las Vegas, where the second and third rounds will happen later today. Things are pretty quiet right now, but this parking lot will be full of football fans in a few hours. The Broncos will be making their first pick of the draft. The Broncos looking to fill positions at cornerback, edge, rush, tight end, and offensive tackle. Our Broncos insider Troy Rank thinks they'll go with Nick Bonito, an edge rusher from Oklahoma. You can see Troy's mock draft right now on thedenverchannel.com, and you can watch rounds 2 and 3 right here on Denver 7. Coverage starts tonight at 5. A former CSU player could be picked early in the second round. He's the best tight end in the draft. Denver 7's Nick Rothschild gives us the profile on Trey McBride.
I'm Nick Rothschild in Las Vegas, and the first round of the NFL Draft has come and gone, and no Denver Broncos, no Colorado State tight end Trey McBride. That's kind of the way this was trending in the past few days. Didn't seem like McBride was going to be a first-round pick, and he will be into the second and third round. Although he is not going to last long today, he will be gone early in the second round. Why is that? Because he's the best tight end on the board, best tight end in the draft. He's a great receiver. He's great in the blocking game. But why listen to me praise him when you can listen to him describe himself?
They're getting a competitor, a playmaker, and a guy that's going to, give it their all, a guy that you won't have to worry about off the field, a guy that leads by example, does everything the right way, and most importantly is a winner, a guy that wants to win, competes, and loves the game of football. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I just need an opportunity somewhere, and whoever, takes a chance on me is going to, make a good pick. So.
Now, I mentioned that McBride won't last long in the second round, but there is a small chance that the Broncos could pick him up, and if they do, he will be following in the footsteps of one Joel Dreesen. That's right, Joel played at Fort Morgan High School, Colorado State, and in the pros with Denver. And he is Trey McBride's mentor. So a lot of poetry in motion here on day 2 of the draft. Reporting from Las Vegas, Nick Rothschild, Denver 7 Sports.
Well, the Avs will have the top seed in the Western Conference when the Stanley Cup playoffs start Monday. They won't have home ice throughout all the playoffs because they couldn't lock up the President's Trophy. The Avs' final regular season game is tonight in Minnesota. And the DU men's hockey team is celebrating their national championship at the state capitol today. They brought the national championship trophy along with them and were honored on the Senate floor. The Pioneers won their 9th title earlier this month. Still ahead, lawmakers set dates for public testimony in the investigation into the deadly Capitol riot. And your donations are helping Marshall Fire victims months after the devastation. Coming up, some of that money is replacing a family's car